everybody, welcome back. We're still with Darcy Bingham. She is a dear friend and just a huge advocate throughout her life for individuals and for organizations in terms of just realizing your potential, and you know that is a deep passion of mine. We've talked about it a few times on the show. So if you're just joining us, you better go back and rewind later, because the last segment we had was just fantastic. I know you're going to get a lot out of it. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. So we were just talking about really owning your own life and being responsible for you. It reminds me of like my kids when they were little, and they would say, "You're not the boss of me," to the other one.
Right.
It was kind of like that, right? Just like you do you.
Yes.
Yeah. And
you be you.
You be you, exactly. So another one of your conversations of consequence that I want to talk to you about, because I don't know this story, but I've seen it on your list of topics, is locksmith.
A locksmith, yes. A locksmith is a job, right?
It is.
It is. Yes. So that conversation of consequence occurred actually on a ship with a fellow speaker on that ship.
Okay.
Who happened to be...
Talk about a ship, like a cruise ship?
Like a cruise ship.
Okay.
Yeah. It was actually Summit at Sea.
Okay.
So. Yeah. This fellow speaker happened to be an F-16 pilot.
Ooh.
And his name is Dustin. I won't use his last name.
Okay.
But F-16 pilot who he taught the Air Force version of Top Gun. So he was an instructor.
Cool.
To groom and bring along and teach new pilots. But they were phasing out the program, and he was going to retire and wanted to know, what am I going to do next? And he was there exploring, doing self-discovery, trying to talk to people, and we ended up having a conversation about what brought him joy in his job. And it's like, well, what do you like about what you do now? He says, what do you do? Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm an educator. I was like, well, you're asking me that question, and I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
Yes, you're an educator. You're an instructor, but what do you do? What is it about your job? How do you know when you've succeeded at your job? What brings you joy? How do you know you're doing it right?
What does it feel like?
Exactly. Right. And he got incredibly animated. He goes, I know exactly what it is. And I said, all right, tell me. And very animated, he leaned in. He's like, we know in the military, we've done all the tests. We've examined all of these people's skill sets. We know, unfortunately at that time it was mostly men, we know these guys can fly. We know they have this in them. We know they can do it, but they don't know. And some of them you have to lay out the breadcrumbs and bring them along. Some of them you just got to whack them upside the head. Some of them you have to challenge and throw down the gauntlet. Some of them you just have to give them some strokes and some confidence. But every single time when you get to that one day when you see it on their face and it dawns on them, I can do this. And you can actually hear the tumblers in their brain just turning over. And all of a sudden it gets unlocked and they realize their own potential.
Oh, God.
Okay. And I said, so what you're telling me, Dustin, is you're a locksmith. And unlocking potential and unlocking capability, and that's what brings you joy. And I said, so go be a locksmith. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, you can be a locksmith as a realtor. You could be a locksmith as an investment banker. You could be a locksmith as a teacher. But go be a locksmith. And some people are locksmiths. Some people are detectives. Some people are farmers. They like to help things grow, and that's what brings them joy. Some people are bridge builders. They like to connect people and things and bring them together and be the structure or provide the method for bringing programs and companies and products or whatever together.
That had to have been such an aha moment for him, right? Because he was this person, he was this pilot, knew what his purpose was, did it every day, right? And then all of a sudden now he had a transition. He had a change.
Yes.
And what's funny about that is his consequence of that conversation was that he realized that he should be helping people in that process too.
Right. And a lot of people that says, oh, you should go into this industry, or oh, you should use your military training for security. Oh, you should do. And it's like, okay, you can do any of those things, but what is it that brings you joy? And how do you incorporate that in what you do? And he now, I've been in touch with him. It's been almost 10 years. He's an incredibly successful investment banker, but what he specializes in is, unlocking family dynamics. So he specializes in taking generations in family foundations together, right? To say, okay, the grandparents trust him because he's military, and the parents, know he has integrity, so he wants them to work with his kids, and he brings people together to unlock, the family values and how they're gonna work together.
But the lesson in that for all of us, I mean, honestly, is to stop down for a second and say, what did I do in this day today? And beyond the physical activity of whatever I did, what is the greater purpose? And then what from that, what feelings does that invoke, right? And if that's important to you at whatever stage in life that you are, it is, that's why self-discovery activities are so important, because if you don't know, like in business, I always say, so the vision is to be, the mission is to do, but the essence is, what does it feel like? And we don't pay, I don't think as a society, enough attention to the feelings.
And what it evokes.
Yeah.
What it evokes in others and in yourself.
Yeah. Because those are game changers.
Yeah. Does it make you proud? Does it shame you?
Yeah.
Does it, do the right thing, you'll sleep better. That was a quote that I just read in a book that was out in the lobby. It's like, okay, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, and we all need more sleep, that's for sure.
Good sleep is
good. No. But no, I find it absolutely fascinating because it all works together. So, and we talk a lot about on the hunt of going from point A to point B, and what are the qualities and what's the mentality required to do that. And it doesn't matter whatever the situation is, just point A to point B, right? So whether you're going from corporate to entrepreneur or whatever it is you're doing.
You're making a transition.
You're making a transition.
How do you transition successfully?
Yeah. So in your experience, is the hardest part when you're talking to people is pulling out the answers from them versus you giving the answer?
I think I try, if it's going well, it's pretty effortless. Yeah. And it's a give and take, right? Because I learned so much from these conversations as well. For me, it's, you ask the questions, you reframe for people. This is what we call it reflective listening, right? So this is what I hear you saying. Is that what you meant? And trying not to should. Right? We all should.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Well, right. You should do this. Yeah. Well, have you ever considered? Have you thought about? And again, holding up that mirror. Yeah. Say, is that what you want to look like? How do you think that might reflect back on you? Is it part of your character? Would you be proud of this?
Which goes back to self-discovery, because if you do not know the values that you're grounded in, then how can anything else go from there? You'll be running around like a chicken with their head cut off because you don't know who you are. Right? Yeah. I mean, that again takes a lot of work. Self-assessment. Right. And if I could go back, to
what would we tell our younger us, right?
Oh yeah, and just and know that. Knowing that it starts there and staying in alignment with there. I mean, it reduces confusion, It reduces irritation. It reduces anxiety. And, and we're so, anxious and stressed out as a society today.
And appreciatively.
Appreciatively.
Okay, wait, appreciatively, you named a whole bunch of negative things, right?
Yeah.
That it reduces.
Yeah.
Well, it also promotes confidence. It also promotes ability. It promotes joy. It relaxes you. It makes you more comfortable with yourself.
Yes. So if you do those things, then the benefit, the outcome is going to be made. Oh my God. Okay, still so much more to come. We have been talking with Darcy Bingham. You can find her on LinkedIn. And we've been talking about conversations of consequence. Stay with us. I'm Trish. You're watching The Hunt.